Hey collectors, welcome to Star Wars Collected. I'm Jonathan. If you're new here, I hope you consider sticking around and subscribing. But if you've been here before, I want you to hit that like button. Like, the security of the New Republic depends on it, because what I have for you guys today is basically an ode to Carson Teva. This guy means a lot to me. All right, collectors, let's go ahead and get into it here. I have two items here basically honoring the great pilot, Carson Teva. Love this character from The Mandalorian, seeing him show up in Ahsoka. But quite honestly, I love the actor, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee. We've interacted online through Instagram. He followed my page. He shares my stuff from time to time. And it just honestly means the world to me. It is so cool. And I know a lot of people have some cool interactions out there with some actors, especially from a lot of the newer series. But what I love about Paul is that Paul's one of us. Like, Paul's one of us to the point where he might be more us than we are us, because he has done tons of cosplay over the years, well before he was doing a character in Star Wars. Not only that, but then he hosts his own show that's like not that dissimilar from what we're doing here, where he goes through and opens up some hot toys, and he's been doing a lot with the micro galaxy type things, which are super cool. Just a generous dude, you know what I mean? Like, he is just a fan and he is one of us. Of course, he's been in all kinds of things over the years, and my wife and I first saw him in Kim's Convenience, and quite honestly, that was one of those series that we clung on to during the pandemic that kind of kept us afloat. We were just in love with the series and found it super funny, and it was just a nice little escape when the world was all burning down. So it was so cool when he got announced that he was going to be in The Mandalorian. That was like a fist pump moment. I was so excited. My wife was excited. And then he ended up getting to play a really cool pilot character, which is also cool because I know that's something that he's been interested in before. So there has been some merchandise for Carson Teva, although quite honestly, there has not been enough. All right, we've got a Black Series helmet. That's great. This was an easy repaint from the Luke Skywalker one that they've done now a couple times, and they've done Wedge and they've done Trapper Wolf. It's really funny because I bought a bunch of the Luke Skywalker ones and a bunch of the Wedge ones when they first came out, and I had taken the time to sand a lot of them down and spray paint them white and kind of get them ready for making another helmet. So one of the ones that I chose was Carson Teva, because I was like, you know what? Hasbro is never going to make a Carson Teva helmet, and they're also never going to make a Trapper Wolf helmet. So I bought stickers, I bought decals for both of those, and I had them in the works, and then what happens? Hasbro makes them. So they seem to just be paying attention to what I'm making, and then right before, once I've invested a little bit of time into it, that's when they go ahead and make it. Yet we still don't have a Biggs helmet, which is really interesting. Speaking of Biggs, I know that when Paul went in for his costume test, that they gave him Biggs' helmet to try on as part of that. And of course, him being a super fan, knew exactly what it was, recognized it, and I just think that's so cool. I love it when one of our own kind of gets to live out their Star Wars dream. It just makes it, it gives you that personal connection to it. Star Wars, for so many of us, isn't just the stories, it is the community around it that we've found that is with us through all different types of things throughout our life. So Black Series helmets are really solid. I think the pilot ones are great. This is the chin strap, of course, that goes on the inside here. I've compared this type of helmet, the Black Series helmet, multiple times now to all kinds of higher end manufacturers, from De Novo, some custom made stuff that I've seen out there. And sure, it is not absolutely perfect, and in some ways it's kind of too nice. If you are familiar at all with the actual production used helmets from the original, they do not have all this cool texture on the inside here. They spend a lot of time kind of bringing out the details inside of here. This, of course, is electronic. There's a little switch here at the back. You can put batteries inside of this. There's a button that's very well hidden right here that when you click it, it'll make all kinds of little battle alert sounds. This is, as always, a good solid helmet. The proportions seem really right to me. The paint is really cool and interesting. They've done a good job at kind of mixing some matte paint in here with a couple other things. I am seeing like a little bit of areas here where the decal, which is actually paint here, is just like slightly misaligned, and I'm getting just like a slight almost green color here as the yellow paint and the blue paint goes over top. But that is very minor. And this is kind of the first time I'm really appreciating all the details that are on Carson Teva's helmet. I love this symbol right here. I've asked multiple times. I've heard it's a vent in some things. I've heard that it is some sort of like memorial type thing for the like Yavin attack, but it's on people's helmets already in A New Hope, so I'm not really sure. But I love this symbol so much that I have definitely considered getting that as my second Star Wars tattoo here at some point. This, of course, is the seal of the New Republic, the Rebel crest that we're used to, with some extra stars around the outside edge here. We've got the little V's here that you'll find all throughout the original trilogy. And overall, it's just a really cool, nice helmet. And I don't know if Paul had any sort of input when designing it or anything like that, but I'm sure it is very cool for him to have his very own helmet. Moving from the helmet here, let's go ahead and look at our second Carson Teva item. Now, I say second because I wish I had a third and a fourth and all kinds of different stuff, but I'm not a big Black Series collector, but I understand that they have not made a Carson Teva Black Series figure. This is a crime. They also have not made a Hot Toys or Sideshow piece with Carson Teva. So I think we need a little more Carson Teva in our lives. Now, I remember, and you will probably remember too, that at one point there was a series called Rangers of the New Republic that was supposed to be coming out, and it didn't happen. And I think a lot of the rumors were that it was going to be centered around the Cara Dune character, which got written out. But I do wonder if at any point Carson Teva was going to be a larger part of that, you know, Rangers of the New Republic. It sort of seems like something that he would fit into. So if I had my vote, I think I would be very pleased with a Rangers of the New Republic that put Paul and his character at the very front and center of that story and give us a really cool X-Wing pilot type series out there. I know a lot of people would dig a pilot series, and if you're gonna want to tell a story in that current kind of Mando era that they're really exploring, Carson Teva makes a lot of sense to me. Now, this is a piece from Gentle Giant. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a big Gentle Giant fan. However, I rarely, if never, and usually recommend you don't either buy directly from them because their stuff just doesn't seem to hold the value. It's not because I don't want to support the company. I think they're a great company. Some of my favorite pieces are from Gentle Giant, but you will find that they release a piece and within sometimes weeks, if not just a few months, you'll be able to find that piece for half off, 75% off sometimes. I'm not really sure why this is the case, but that is the case. And as someone who's trying to collect as much as they can on their budget, it doesn't really make sense for me to usually buy new from them. But I do have an affection for Carson Teva. Also, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm not a fan of busts. 1-to-1 scale busts, very cool. This scale bust, it's just never done it for me. I just want the rest of the statue. As cool as I think a bust can look, I want the legs, I want the platform at the bottom. I don't know, maybe I'm a legs guy. Maybe I'm a Carson Teva's legs guy. I found this for a really great price. There is no way that I can pass it up because it was just way too underpriced for what it was, and it was a way to get Carson Teva more into my collection. And I've seen some people do a very cool display before where they take, you know, the figure or something like that and they match it with the helmet. I'm not really sure if that's going to be how I'll be able to display it here in my future collecting space, but that is a cool juxtaposition of the two things, and I think it looks really nice together. Let's dive in a little deeper here on this figure. A couple things that I'm noticing right away is that I have a big color difference between this shoulder here and this arm here. You know, there are a lot of orange variations throughout his costume here to kind of get it so that it looks like the light is catching it in different ways, and that's been weathered a little bit. I feel like this shoulder over here is much more successful. You do get some obvious seam lines there. Now, on a flight jacket or flight suit, there probably are going to be some seam lines there, so that's not a big deal. The little pieces that go around him, the straps and stuff like that, that all looks quite nice, to be honest. The gun is in good shape. I always worry when they're shipping something like this that it might have an issue. The gloves look really nice. You've got his little pilot box down there, the tube coming down and over here to the side. It is overall a really nice setup. One thing that I thought might be a little interesting is to bring this helmet back out and kind of compare them side by side and see how similar they are. The only thing that I've noticed kind of off the bat is that Gentle Giant seems to have placed that symbol that we were talking about earlier, this circle with the lines going through it, very much kind of like up and down almost. On the helmet here from Hasbro, this line right here is lining up with this V, where on the Gentle Giant piece, it is kind of lining up with the very first V like that. I think I prefer how it's rendered here on this piece, and I'm guessing that this is the more accurate one because that tends to be the kind of positioning that they put that symbol in. I don't really ever see it going kind of straight up and down like they've done it here. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, a lot of times where Gentle Giant falls a little short for me is in the skin application. The paint just won't be quite as good as what I'm used to with something like a Hot Toy piece or a Sideshow premium format piece. But looking here at our very handsome Paul, it's looking really good. I like that there are clear lenses going over his eyes. I think that is a nice detail and not one that I've seen a lot from Gentle Giant in the statues that I've collected from them. They even have sort of the chin strap riding up into his beard, so there's a little bit of hair kind of coming over top of it. The mustache just kind of coming a little bit over the strap there. And he's got the little microphone poking out the side there. Now that microphone is rendered all black on this piece, where I think on here you're gonna find that it uses a metal tube with a little bit of black on the end. So I'm not really sure. I think that this is the more accurate representation for what I've seen. I do notice that these code cylinder things here on the side, they're a little flat. They're like a little bit cut off as they're flown into there. But overall, a really solid piece. On the bottom here, it says, Gentle Giant, this is a convention exclusive from 2023, Star Wars Carson Teva, 1/6 scale mini bust, limited edition number 754 of 1000. My impression was that this was a convention exclusive. This is something that manufacturers do from time to time, you know, to kind of make a piece extra special, but how could it be any more special than when it's our boy Carson Teva? All right, collectors, well, there you have it. Dare I say, the most handsome pilot in all of the galaxy, Carson Teva. 2 collectibles that are available right now on the market if you're looking to fill out your Carson Teva collection or your Rebel Pilot collection or your Mandalorian collection, anything like that. I don't really know what else I'd want. I really am a huge helmet collector, so I'm just love that they made his helmet. And even though I'm not a bust collector by any means, I just had to go for it because I like this character a lot. So, you know, maybe seeing a Hot Toy at some point would be great. I could definitely do with a statue. If Gentle Giant had made this in a statue instead of a bust, then I would have picked it up immediately. But outside of that, I know a lot of Black Series collectors would love to see him show up in the Black Series, and it's a little crazy that he hasn't because he's just the most handsome boy in the whole galaxy. If you like things like 1/1 scale helmets and you like things like statues and premium format stuff and Hot Toys and props and all that stuff, you're in the right spot. Make sure you subscribe here at Star Wars Collected. Also make sure you're following us on Instagram. It's a place where you and I can interact a little bit more directly. I love having conversations with you guys there. I'm also always trying to show up little deals that I find online, putting polls up there. Honestly, it's a really good time, so make sure you're following us there as well. Off camera here, I've got an NYC thing to open up. I've got some Anovos things, quite a few. I've got some RS Prop Masters, and I have a whole bundle of buckets to show you guys at some point here. So make sure you subscribe if you like that stuff. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.